Think about the first moments of your morning. The alarm goes off, your eyes open. But instead of feeling awake, your body feels like it is still underwater. Your mind is foggy, your limbs are heavy, and even though you technically slept, it feels as if you are starting the day already behind. That first sigh you let out in bed, the one that says, "I'm tired already," is a sigh that millions of people breathe every single morning. You know that feeling. It's universal. And it's easy to believe that this is just the way mornings are, that being groggy is a normal tax we all pay for waking up. But what if I told you that this isn't true? What if I told you that the difference between dragging yourself into the day and stepping into it with energy comes down to one incredibly simple step? Not a complicated routine, not an expensive supplement, not some 10-step morning ritual, but a single action so simple it almost feels unfair. The step I'm about to share with you has the power to erase that morning heaviness in a way that feels almost like magic. But it's not magic. It's biology. The truth is, when you wake up tired, your body isn't broken. It's not that you're lazy or weak. It's not even always about how many hours of sleep you got. The real reason lies in how your body transitions from night mode to day mode. At night, while you sleep, your body quietly loses hydration. You breathe out moisture with every exhale, and your cells continue to burn energy and water, even while you're unconscious. By the time you open your eyes, you're already slightly dehydrated. That's why your mouth feels dry, your brain feels foggy, and your energy feels low. And yet, what's the first thing most people reach for? Coffee. But coffee on an empty, dehydrated system is like pouring gasoline into a car with no oil. It gives you a burst, but it grinds your engine down and creates a crash later. The step that removes morning fatigue is so basic, so fundamental, that it almost seems too simple to matter. Drink a glass of water the moment you wake up. That's it. That's the one step. And it works because it restores what your body has been silently begging for all night long. But here's the deeper layer. This isn't just hydration. This is about giving your body a signal. When you drink water in the morning, you're not just quenching thirst. You're telling every cell in your body, the night is over. It's time to be awake. It's time to start the day. Your adrenal system hears that signal. Your cortisol rhythm adjusts. Your brain clears faster, your muscles loosen, your digestion starts moving, and most importantly, your sense of energy starts to shift. Imagine it like flipping the first domino. Once it falls, everything else that happens in your morning, your focus, your movement, your food choices, lines up more easily. That one sip sets the chain reaction in motion. And maybe right now you're thinking, can something that simple really make that much of a difference? Let me ask you this. Have you ever noticed how one small mistake in the morning, spilling coffee, reading a stressful message, hitting snooze, can ruin your mood for hours? If a tiny negative input can drag your whole day down, why couldn't a tiny positive input lift it up? That's the beauty of fundamentals. They don't overwhelm you with effort, but they ripple outward with power. When you drink that water, you change your baseline state. You take your system from deficit to balance, from foggy to alert. And once your baseline shifts, the trajectory of the entire day changes. Now, let's talk about identity, because this is where the impact multiplies. When you wake up groggy, it's easy to fall into the story of, "I'm just not a morning person. I'm someone who always struggles in the morning." But when you make the choice to pour that glass of water and drink it, you start to tell yourself a new story. "I'm someone who takes charge of my mornings. I'm someone who knows how to reset my energy." That identity is powerful, because identity drives behavior far more reliably than motivation ever could. You don't need to force yourself with willpower when you see yourself as the kind of person who begins the day with clarity. And once that identity locks in, other habits begin to align without a fight. You're more likely to move your body, more likely to eat something nourishing, more likely to focus instead of scroll. All because you proved to yourself that you can start the day on purpose instead of by accident. This is where most people get it wrong. They think energy is about adding more supplements, more hacks, more systems. But in reality, energy comes from removing confusion. Your body wants clear signals. Light tells it that it's daytime. Darkness tells it that it's nighttime. And water, first thing in the morning, tells it, "We are awake now. Let's switch on." It's such a small act, but it's one of the clearest signals you can give. And the best part? It requires no discipline, no learning curve, no money. A child can do it. An exhausted parent can do it. Even someone with zero motivation can manage to pour a glass of water. It's the ultimate low-barrier, high-reward habit. And it works because it aligns with how your body is designed to function. Think about the alternative. You skip this one step. You go straight for coffee, or worse, you go straight for your phone. You scroll, your brain floods with distractions, your body stays dehydrated, and the dominoes fall in the wrong direction. You feel tired, so you drink more coffee. You skip movement. Your blood sugar spikes. By noon, you're not only fatigued, you're battling guilt, frustration, and a sense that the day is already slipping away. But if you simply take that one action, you set yourself on a completely different path. It's not about perfection, it's about trajectory. And your trajectory is shaped in the first few minutes after waking. Here's something else you might not know. When you drink water right after waking, it also helps regulate your cortisol. Cortisol is often misunderstood. It's not just a stress hormone. In the morning, a natural rise in cortisol is what helps you feel awake and alert. But that rise needs to be balanced. Too little, and you stay groggy. Too much and you feel jittery. Hydration supports that balance. And when your cortisol rhythm is steady, you avoid the sharp peaks and crashes that leave you drained later in the day. It's not about chasing a constant high. It's about creating a stable rhythm that your body can rely on. Now, let's connect this back to something we all care about: energy for the things that actually matter. Because what is energy really? It's the currency you spend on your work, your relationships, your health, your dreams. If you wake up in deficit, you spend the whole day trying to climb out of a hole. But if you wake up in surplus with clarity and presence, you invest that energy where it counts. That's why this one glass of water is not just about avoiding fatigue. It's about how you show up in your career. It's about how you show up for your family. It's about how you show up for yourself. It is the smallest possible action with the widest possible ripple. And there's another surprising benefit. By choosing water first, you're also choosing to delay caffeine. And when you delay caffeine by just 60 to 90 minutes after waking, you avoid what's known as the caffeine crash. Normally, if you drink coffee immediately, it collides with adenosine, the chemical that makes you feel sleepy, and masks it temporarily. But as soon as that mask wears off, you crash even harder. If instead you let water do its work, allow adenosine to clear naturally, and then have your coffee, you experience clean energy that lasts longer and doesn't collapse halfway through your day. So in a sense, that morning glass of water doesn't just make your day better, it makes your coffee better too. All of this points to one simple truth: fundamentals beat complexity. You don't need a gadget. You don't need an app. You don't need to optimize every detail of your life. You just need to honor what your body is asking for in the most basic, obvious way. Restore what's lost. Prime your system. Sustain the momentum. That is the model to remember. And it all begins with one step: drink water the moment you wake up. And here's something important to remember. The simplicity of this step is its greatest strength, not its weakness. We live in a culture that constantly pushes the idea that solutions must be complex, that we need elaborate systems, apps, or 10-point morning routines to feel in control. But the reality is that complexity is fragile. The more moving parts something has, the easier it is to break. One missed step, one skipped detail, and the entire system collapses. Simplicity, on the other hand, is strong. A single clear action repeated every day builds a foundation you can trust. When life gets messy, and it will, this one step is something you can always fall back on. That's what makes it powerful. Not because it's flashy, but because it's reliable. And reliability is what creates trust in yourself. Let me ask you, how often do you start the day already feeling behind? That moment when you open your eyes and your brain immediately starts listing all the things you didn't do yesterday, all the things you still have to do today. That mental weight can crush your momentum before you've even stood up. But imagine replacing that heavy start with something different. You wake up, you drink your glass of water, and in that moment, you've already won something. You've proven to yourself that you can take action. You've proven that you can do the thing your body needs most, and from that small victory, your mind starts to reframe the entire day. Instead of "I'm behind," it becomes "I'm already moving forward." That shift, though invisible to others, changes the way you carry yourself. It changes the way you speak, the way you think, the way you make decisions. One small step becomes the seed of momentum. Now let's deepen this framework into 3 connected ideas you can carry with you. Think of them as restore, prime, sustain. Restore. You restore your body's natural balance with water. Prime. You prime your energy system to respond better to everything else you do that morning, whether that's coffee, movement, or food. Sustain. You sustain the momentum because this step is easy enough to repeat every single day. You don't need motivation. You don't need to wait for inspiration. You don't need to rely on willpower. This one action is light enough to carry even on the heaviest mornings. And because you can do it consistently, it compounds. That compounding is the hidden force behind real change. It's never about one giant leap. It's about the steps small enough to never fail. Here's where psychology enters. Human beings are wired to chase big breakthroughs, but we are transformed by small consistencies. Your brain doesn't need you to solve everything at once. It needs you to give it one clear signal again and again until the new state becomes normal. Drinking water in the morning is not just a physical act, it's a psychological anchor. It tells your brain, this is who I am now. I am the kind of person who starts the day on purpose. And the moment your brain believes that, it stops fighting you. Instead of resistance, you get cooperation. Instead of self-sabotage, you get alignment. You begin to trust yourself, not because of one big promise, but because of a small promise kept daily. And this trust matters more than anything else. Think about the times you've tried to change your life with massive, dramatic gestures. A new diet, a new gym schedule, a complete overhaul of your routine. It feels exciting in the beginning, but how long does it last? Usually only until the first disruption, until travel, stress, or fatigue knocks you off balance. And then the old story returns. I can't stick to anything. That belief is poison because it erodes your confidence in change itself. But when you take one simple step and repeat it consistently, you build the opposite belief. I can trust myself to follow through. That belief is priceless.
It spills into every area of your life, your work, your relationships, your goals.
When you trust yourself to do the small things, you begin to trust yourself to handle the big ones too. So let me paint a picture. Two versions of you wake up tomorrow. In one version, you reach for your phone, you scroll, you check messages, you put coffee into a dehydrated body. You're running on fumes before the day even begins. In the other version, you wake up, you drink water, you breathe, you give your system the signal it's been waiting for. Your brain clears, your body feels lighter, and before you've even opened your inbox, you've already created a win. Which version do you think will lead to a more focused meeting, a calmer response to stress, a better decision at lunch, a clearer head in the evening? The answer is obvious. But the real question is, which version do you want to live as? Because the difference between them isn't complicated. It isn't expensive. It isn't dramatic. It's a single glass of water. And I want you to notice something subtle. This habit doesn't demand that you change who you are. It doesn't ask you to become someone else. It simply asks you to remove the friction between you and the energy you already have. You are not broken. You don't need to be fixed. You just need to stop ignoring what your body has been asking for all along. Every morning your body whispers, "Give me back what I lost." And when you listen, you unlock the energy that was always waiting for you. That's the real lesson here. You don't need a massive breakthrough. You don't need to wait for some perfect moment to start over. The difference between a tired, distracted, overwhelmed version of you and a focused, energized, present version of you may not be a revolution. It may be one small, consistent choice. So as we close, I want to leave you with this thought. Mornings set the tone for everything that follows. If you start the day in deficit, you spend the day trying to recover. If you start the day with momentum, you carry that strength into everything you do. And momentum begins with the smallest possible win. One step, one choice, one glass of water. That's how you erase morning fatigue. That's how you shift from dragging through life to moving with purpose, not by adding complexity, but by trusting the fundamentals. And once you experience the difference, even just once, you'll never want to start your mornings any other way. So tomorrow, when you open your eyes, don't reach for your phone. Don't tell yourself you'll figure it out later. Just take that one step, drink the water, and give yourself the gift of beginning the day with clarity, energy, and trust in yourself. Because that, more than anything else, is the first and most powerful step toward becoming who you truly want to be.